Hey, my non-mechanic truck drivers, this is part 2 of replacing the injector cups for all 6 injectors. Well, as you can see, my engine is pretty much sort of taken apart, I guess, without taking the head off. If you have a Packard or you have a Kenworth truck, I don't know about the other dealerships, but I have read it flat out myself and heard it multiple times that Kenworth the dealerships will not replace the cups. They will say you have to, the only thing they'll do is want to replace your head. Now, when it comes to that, if you're running the symptoms of like you have a leaking injector cup, then what you need to do is pressurize your system on the coolant side. Because I didn't realize this, because I'm not a mechanic. Here's the injector cup, and coolant runs all around the sides of that. All the way around, runs through cavities inside that hole, inside the injector hole. You can't really see it up here, but if you were looking there yourselves, you'll see little cavities on each side where the coolant flows through. Now, who knows how much that would cost? I forgot what even the price was on buying a new head. But if there's nothing wrong with the head, that don't make sense with me with Kenworth. Why are they going to tell you, oh, we don't replace it, you don't replace them, it's just, you can't replace them. That's what they'll tell you. But you can replace them. Do a little research. And if you don't see it on the title, this is a Packard MX-13 EPA 17 engine. So it's a little different for like all the engines are, but it's a similar concept. But I found with Kenworth, they're telling me what I just said before. But basically, to get to this point of it, you got a shroud that actually goes around this that holds your wiring harness, which is sitting up here. Those are your injector wiring harness. That's your injector wiring harness. This plugs into your injectors from the top. This shroud actually comes off, which I didn't know. I thought it all came off in one piece. And it allows you to access your rockers. So to get the rockers off, you got to take off 12 bolts. And whenever you're doing anything like this, or any mechanicing, you need to take your time, drivers. You get in there and try to rush it. You'll spin your nuts and spin bolts off into the block, or snapping stuff off, because they don't make vehicles like they used to. But this is just a part 2 to let you see where my progress. As you can see, I took all that out, and now I've actually removed number 3. And I'm getting ready to install that. And the way you install it is another piece of this tool. This is the extractor. And the other piece of this toolkit, it basically looks like a big punch. And then basically all you're doing is you get your new fresh cup, which you can buy these in 6-pack. Do a little research. And what you're doing on this bottom ring, because on mine it doesn't have any O-rings around the top. So when you extract one, or if you're trying to find information specific to your engine, if you're not sure, if you pressurize and do see, once you pull an injector out and you see coolant or something coming through there that ain't supposed to come through there, then what you do is just go ahead and pull one, and you'll see where they got a ring on here. Mine don't have O-rings. All I have to do is put on the thread lock. It was very specific when I was reading around, 262, and I guess it's sort of like a liquid weld for the metal. I don't know the technical stuff about it, but that's all you do. You put it on the bottom. Be careful with it, don't run it all over. You just want it on that lip right there on the top, on the bottom edge, and just sort of fill it in. The stuff is thicker than Loctite, so you'll see the difference if you do this. You just sort of let it flow on around there. You don't have to put your finger on it unless you want to, but you want to put it on a little thick. You don't want to just smear it on. You need to let it sort of flow around it. It won't roll off the edge because it's thick. And then all I do is put my index finger in it, turn it up, and put it down and drop it down into the injector hole. Once I do that, that's when you take this tool, the punch, and with the punch, basically slides down into this injector cup like this, And all I did was take a hammer. It took me like three hits and it sinks in. It sets, but then you tap it a fourth time, you'll hear the difference in the sound, or what it sounds like when it hits metal to metal. And then the other thing is, and I'm glad I'm doing this, is what I found out, even though I only had one injector cup let loose that, you know, caused my engine to hydrolock, as I'm going around, and I did the first two, you see how far that sinks in? Seats. Now I'm gonna go to an injector that I haven't pulled out yet, back on the last three. See where that's at? That's number 4. And then when I float back to number 5, you'll see the difference. I was getting ready to lose all of my injector sleeves. See the difference? This is 5. You go back to 4. And it's not seated, and that's the one I haven't pulled yet. That's the one that's already in there. So that tells me that injector sleeve is basically come loose. It's coming up. And so that's the end of part 2. I'll do another part to just show as I progress across this. It's not hard. It's just takes time, because, you know, if you're not a mechanic, you don't do this all the time. But it's just take your time. Do your research, or, you know, look at all your materials like for your specific engine. And it's pretty straightforward. All right. I'll do another video of part 3 once I get to another phase of this.